Good afternoon, Patriots. This is the American Vision, broadcast to you on the TLBTV network and brought to you by the Liberty Beacon Project. I'm your host, Bill Muckler, and I'm coming to you from my home studio in Cocoa, Florida. And I have today a guest from also from Florida, from across the state in the Clearwater area, I believe, and that's Craig Gross. And Craig, welcome to the American Vision. We're certainly honored to have you on the show with us.
Hey, thank you very much, Bill. Actually, my wife and I live and reside in Oldsmar, just on the other side of Clearwater.
I see. And are you you have a restaurant, and tell us the name of your restaurant and how all that got started.
Okay. My restaurant is Frankie's Patriot Barbecue. We're located at 6250 Ulmerton Road in Clearwater. And the restaurant is basically named after a local hero. When I went into business, I wanted to name my business after a veteran and a hero. I always had a vision to do something like that. And unfortunately, my son was killed in action in Afghanistan in an IED attack. And so I had a name. I had a name right there, and that was my boy, Corporal Frank Robert Gross.
And so you use your son Frank's name in the name of your business, Frankie's Patriot Barbecue.
Yes.
That's really quite an honor for your son. And I want to tell you that all the people here at TLBTV, we're all veterans, and our founder's a Navy vet, and I'm a Marine. And, we really want to express our condolences and because there's no way we would know what you're going through to lose a son, but it's obviously, a very tender and sensitive thing. So we've actually done a lot of shows with Gold Star parents, and it's really an honor for me to have you on and talk about your son. So your son was where, in Afghanistan, and he was the only soldier killed that year, I believe.
Yes, he was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas. He was 38th Cavalry, 504th Battlefield Brigade, Charlie Troop. And there was 101 soldiers deployed from Fort Hood to Afghanistan. They were in the Kandahar region, which most people know is one of the most dangerous regions in Afghanistan. And he was in country 21 days. They were on a vehicle rescue mission. There was a landmine sweeper that was pinned down out in the desert late at night. And they went out to help bring that vehicle back to base. And that's when my son was killed by an IED attack. And he was the only soldier out of the 101 soldiers that left that he came home, of course, to Dover Air Force Base.
Yes, and so when all this happened, obviously, he was then interred in Arlington, from what I understand. I saw some of the photos, and so you actually had him interred there as obviously one of our fallen heroes and patriots.
Yes, Frankie actually left in his will that he wanted to be buried in Arlington. But he made it very clear to my wife and myself that no matter how he died, if he died at all, he did not want to have full military honors at his funeral. And that's the only request that we did not honor. He had full military honors at his funeral in Arlington. There was a full caisson. There were generals that were walking beside his casket to the gravesite, and it's one of those moments in life that is indelibly imprinted on your mind And the video that you saw of the song that I wrote, They Buried My Son in Arlington, all of those pictures and all of the video is from my son's funeral in Arlington.
Yeah,
and a backdrop to the song.
And what we want to do is, the song is really awesome. I just really enjoyed listening to it. For those of you who are watching this, Craig actually sent me the link to the YouTube video on the song. So we're actually going to play that for you now.
I remember soldiers at my door. Said your son won't be here anymore. I never knew how much I miss my son till they buried him in Arlington. 'Cause there's many a hero buried there. Flags are waving in the air. I thank God all America cares that my son is buried there. Soldiers brave, they fought the fight of faith, and now they're resting in their resting place. They're all together with my son, the soldier they buried up in Arlington. I remember the good times every day. Baseball, fishing, and the games we played. I'm still a-grieving by my son, the soldier they buried up in Arlington. 'Cause there's many a hero buried there. Flags are waving in the air. I thank God all America cares that our son is buried there. Now he's in heaven, standing at the gate. His mom and I, we just can't wait. We'll be together with our son, the soldier they buried up in Arlington.
Okay, everybody, hope you really enjoyed the song. And Craig, tell us now, I understand from some people, some folks I know over here in Brevard County that are Gold Star parents, that you and your wife are very involved in some activities as far as Gold Star parents. And I believe your wife, Toni, is the head of the Gold Star Mothers organization in your area or something. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, my wife, Toni, she was the president of Gold Star Mothers for West Coast Florida for several years. And then last year, she stepped down from that position and accepted the position as chaplain for their organization. And so now she's still very, very involved with Gold Star Mothers. And she's also involved with several other organizations. She volunteers several hours a week at the Fisher House, the USO. She's strategically involved with the Association of the United States Army. She also works with the spinal cord unit over at Haley Hospital. And as far as that goes, every year for Super Bowl for the last 5 years, my wife and I have sponsored a huge dinner for all of the spinal cord unit patients. We have a big Super Bowl party, and we take barbecue over there and we feed those guys. But cumulatively, my wife has given several thousand hours of volunteer time to several different organizations. And she also started a 501c3 program called Gold Star Awareness. And her mission there, or our mission, because I'm on the board, our mission there is to make people aware of what the Gold Star is and what it stands for. A lot of people don't realize that there's a Blue Star family, a Silver Star family, and a Gold Star family. And if you want me to elaborate on that now, I can, or we can wait till later.
No, go ahead and talk about that, because I'm very familiar with it, but I hope we can explain it to our viewers as well.
Yes. Well, first of all, if you have a son or daughter that's serving in the military, active duty or reserve, or have been retired from the military, you are a Blue Star family. And this is something that started back in World War I, and families would display a blue star in their window if they had a son or daughter that was deployed or active duty someplace in the United States stateside. And then if a son or daughter is wounded in action, that family becomes a Silver Star family, because that soldier, sailor, whatever, is going to receive the Purple Heart. And then the last one, and the one that it's a club that nobody wants to belong to. Nobody asks for membership there. And that's the Gold Star family. And I have the Gold Star right here on my hat. And that's for the families of the fallen.
Yeah. So what happened and when all this started in World War I, when a family became a Gold Star family, they would actually sew the Gold Star over the blue or Silver Star that they had, and they displayed them in the front window, in the window of the front of their house. And
yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So and you have a GoFundMe, and that's to help your cause. And go ahead and tell us a little bit more about that, how you got that started, and what you're using those funds for.
Well, when we opened our location here in Clearwater, we had moved from one location to this location, and we hired a contractor who was a veteran. And actually, I interviewed 6 different veteran-owned companies, and I vetted them. I felt like I vetted them all very well. And unfortunately, we ended up with an unscrupulous contractor who caused us to, number one, be 4 months behind in our project. We had to start all over again from square one. It took, instead of taking 60 days to do the build out, it took almost 120 days to do the build out in the restaurant. And we ended up basically without any money to finish the project. So I had to borrow over $100,000 in order to finish the build out. And we've never been able to catch up. Our sales are good. We're doing very, very good as a business, but our debt to sale ratio is just something that we just can't get the traction. So a friend of mine who happens to be a retired Army Ranger, he and I were talking just casually one night, and he said, "Craig, you need to start a GoFundMe account." And I wish I could use his name, but he asked me to remain anonymous, and he said, I will be the first one to give you $1,000 if you open up this GoFundMe account. He said, I feel very strongly about this. And at first I was like, I just don't want to do that because I feel like I'm begging the community or whatever. And he said, you're not begging the community. You're asking your fellow veterans to help you out in a time of need. And he said, that's what we're all about in the veteran community. So I started the GoFundMe account a month ago. And so far it's been good. And we are very appreciative to everybody that has donated thus far. And I would say that probably 75% of our donations have come from the veteran community.
Yeah, I looked at it online, and it looks like it's really going very well. And I hope our viewers will remember you also. Now, you talked about taking barbecue to the veterans and the hospitals and so forth. You also took your barbecue to New York City, and one Sunday morning, I remember seeing you on TV. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Well, my wife and I are very actively involved in the Fisher House, as well as the other organizations that we give food to. And every month I take dinner to the Fisher House over in Tampa at the Haley Hospital. And they're actually getting ready to open another facility there because they're so busy there at Haley. And so we got a phone call from our friend Carrie, who is one of the directors at headquarters for Fisher House. And she asked me if I would fly up to New York City, all expenses paid, and take our barbecue up there. And how could I say no? So they had me, literally, I took a whole huge 55-gallon igloo cooler filled with ribs and chicken and pulled pork and sausage. And we were there in Times Square, right there at the Fox News storefront. And we fed all of the staff that morning at Fox News. And it was also Memorial Day weekend. And we just had a great time. And of course, I was interviewed on national television. It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and the folks there, they really have a lot of fun with that. So that had to be a great experience for you.
It was, yes, indeed.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you don't want to get into this, just let us know. You also received a letter from the White House, from the administration, and that turned out to be a good experience and a bad experience. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that? Because people have to understand, I think, what you go through as a Gold Star family. It's not like you said, it's not any club you wanted to belong to.
Well, what had happened, actually, Chris Hager from Sarasota, Florida, is Gold Star dad. Chris and I were invited to meet with Donald Trump during the campaign. So we drove up to Jacksonville and we met with Trump with a couple other Gold Star families. And while we were there, Billy and Karen Vaughn were there, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you know Billy and Karen Vaughn. They're over there on your side of the state. But they're very, very active in Gold Star nationwide. And so while we were there, Mr. Trump promised us that if he became president of the United States, he would invite us to the White House with other Gold Star families. And it was quite a contrast between President Trump and the previous president, because the previous president, I'm not going to mention his name, everybody knows who he is. But anyhow, we got 16 condolence letters from that office. And they were all mimeographed, basically. And I had to call the White House and just say, hey, folks, would you please quit sending us condolence letters? We've got enough. We got 16 of them. And so sure enough, not long after Mr. Trump was elected president of the United States of America, Make America Great Again, we received an invitation to the White House to have dinner with Donald Trump and Melania, Michael Pence and his wife, and General Milley from the Pentagon. General Kelly was there. It was a tremendous experience. We were there at the White House for 4.5 hours. We stayed at the Army Navy Club right around the corner from there. And all I could tell you is that Mr. Trump and Melania are some of the most gracious hosts that we've ever had the experience of dining with.
And that really says a lot about how our leaders can actually function as leaders and really pay attention to our vets and their families. So,
Yes.
is there? Tell us a little bit about your restaurant, because I've seen the virtual tour of it. You sent me the I guess it's a photograph, but it's like a 3D virtual tour. I could use my mouse and I could circle all around. I could see every nook and cranny in the restaurant.
Yeah. Well, Frankie's Patriot Barbecue, when we first opened, which was back in 2013, so we've been in business for 5 years. When we first opened, we had basically 4 or 5 pictures on the wall. We of course had our son's picture that was prominently displayed in the middle of the restaurant. And then we had just some other generic pictures that we got off of Amazon of military tanks and the flag going up Iwo Jima and all that. I had a soldier come into the restaurant one day, and he was a retired Army sergeant. He was a sergeant major, and he came into the restaurant, and he still had his brass pin on his lapel that he wore everywhere he went. He was in civilian clothes, of course. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Hey, would you mind if I stuck this on the wall?" And I said, "No, that'd be wonderful." So he takes the pin off, he sticks it on the wall, and it was like a seed that was planted. And the next thing you know, I've got veterans coming in, they're saying, "Hey, who put that up there?" And I said, some sergeant major. I don't know his name. And I probably should have taken his name, because now it's an epic moment in our restaurant's history. And so I would have other soldiers, sailors, even police officers, firemen that would come in and say, "Hey, we want to hang our stuff on the wall too." And I had a collection of, some military memorabilia that I was going to put up on the wall. And that's kind of what precipitated the whole thing. And now, if you take the 3D tour of Frankie's Patriot Barbecue, you'll see, memorabilia that goes all the way back to Civil War that has been actually donated to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really got to make you feel wonderful that people come in, veterans come in, and they share their experiences with you. And I guess as I was listening to you talk about that, I guess now you're thinking, I wish I had taken a photo of this sergeant major and got his name and everything.
Yeah, I really wish I had. He was just passing through. Mm-hmm. He never came back to the restaurant. I believe, I do remember that he lived in the Washington, D.C. area. So if he's watching right now, please come back to Frankie's Patriot Barbecue, and we'll take your picture and put it up on the wall next to your pin.
And I'll bet you even give him a free barbecue dinner if he does that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hey, Craig, it's been wonderful having you as a guest on the show, and I really appreciate you being with us. And I want to express our heartfelt thoughts, and I hope everybody feels the same way. Has you and your son and your family in their prayers. And it's such a terrible thing to go through, and yet you're making the best of it. You somehow, you've got yourself a very successful business, and you're doing a lot of things in the community. Your wife's very active in the community, so that's just really great. And we just need more heroes like you, because you are really a hero to us here in the United States of America.
Well, Bill, I'll tell you, I have a son who gave 100% for our country. And I often say it, I wish I could give more. And the reason why I wish I could give more is not for myself. It's for this country and for the veterans who have served. And you know, my son, Corporal Frank Robert Gross, he had a master's degree from Full Sail University. If he wanted to, he could have gone in and been a second lieutenant right out of boot camp. And he said, Dad, I will become a veteran. I will become an officer one of these days. And when I become an officer, my guys will know that I've been where they're at now. And that's the kind of cloth that he was cut out of. And so all I can say is thank you for the comments and everything. But as I said, I wish I could give more, and we will give more. And it's all in memory of a great soldier who gave 100%. And so why can't we give our all just as he did?
Very well said. And so I'll end this by saying, God bless you, and God bless your son Frank. He's a great American hero. He needs to be remembered. And God bless all of our troops that are on active duty, and our veterans too, who are helping out every day.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Okay, boys and girls, I'm back for a final word. Hey, I want to thank Craig Gross for being a wonderful guest on the show, and I want all of you to remember his GoFundMe. You can go to www.gofundme.com/Patriots for Frankie's 0339S-Patriot-Barbecue. And if you're ever over in the Clearwater area, you got to go to this barbecue restaurant, because this is the best barbecue in our part of the country, maybe the best barbecue in the country as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, remember to support our vets and our Gold Star families, and you can also help support me too. I got a new background here. You guys haven't seen this one before, but this is 2020, a clear vision for America. And obviously, I'm very passionate about it too. So I really would love to sign a copy for you all. All you have to do is go to my website and 2020americabook.com and go ahead and get yourself a copy of it. So anyway, thanks again for watching. God bless you all. God bless our America. And God save our America, because we need you now more than ever before. Oh, and one other thing I forget to keep telling you guys, remember, where there is no vision, the people perish, right? And so keep your vision, and remember my vision 2020.